Hello, everyone. Very nice to have you here on my new breathwork and meditation series. This is the first episode of 6, and we'll be doing one episode per week for the next 6 weeks. And this is kind of how it'll work. So, the first part of this video and each week will be me talking a little bit about the techniques that we're going to be doing, about how meditation works, and about why it's good. The second part will be just some very simple stretches to make it easier for you to sit and to make it easier for your body to relax and make it easier for the meditation to do its work. And the third part will be the meditation and the breath work itself. So if you are doing this as a kind of regular daily program, which I really recommend, you can take each video each week and do it every day, ideally. Then I have in the little notes of this video down below, I think probably below, I'm not really sure, but you'll see, it'll be obvious to you, the times at which the stretching portion starts and the breathwork and meditation starts. So that should be something that you can just skip to when you're ready, and you don't have to sit here and listen to me talk every day because you've already heard it. But I just wanted to start by kind of talking about what made me decide to do this. A lot of you will know that I just recently finished writing a PhD thesis, and it was one of the more stressful experiences, maybe the most stressful kind of extended stretch of time in my life. And I honestly don't know how I would have made it through, especially with the intensity that I had to do it in, without having already had a daily meditation practice. And if I didn't already start with one, I sure hope that I would have found one at some point, because it was so necessary for me. I started meditating daily about 13 years ago, maybe a little bit more than that now. So it was already fairly well established for me. But I really don't know how anyone does something that intense without having something like meditation. And of course, people have their things and other ways of coping with stress. This one is just really, really, really useful for me. And so I just thought, now that I have more time to do this kind of thing, to share this kind of thing, which is something that I've done for the better part of the last 13 years or so, I would go ahead and do this. So I hope you enjoy. I hope you find it helpful. If you do have any questions at any point, please feel free to type them in the comments or send me a direct message. I'm always open to those, and I will always respond. And if you have anything that you want me to address in the next episode, for example, you can go ahead and ask about that as well, and I can talk about it, because I want to just make sure that I'm being clear in these videos, and I'm able to kind of convey the things in the way that that makes sense for you. Especially if you're new and don't have a whole lot of experience with meditation. But I just wanted to also say a few things about, particularly for those of you who are new, a few things that people sometimes tell me about meditation and why they don't do it or why they're afraid of it. The first thing being, they say, "Oh, I tried it once and I'm not very good at it." And it's a funny one, because it's not, on the one hand, I could say, well, I've been doing it just about every day for the last 13 years and I'm not very good at it. But on the other hand, I think probably it's more useful to say that there's no such thing really as being good at meditation. It's a practice, and it is always a practice. It will always be something to practice. And the reason that's helpful to frame it in that way is that even after a lot of time doing this and a lot of different techniques that I've tried and just a lot of guidance that I've received, there are always times when it doesn't feel like it's maybe going well, or it doesn't feel as though it's having the effect that I want it to have, or it doesn't feel as though I'm like connecting as deeply as I want to. But it's the act of doing it that is the beneficial thing, because the biggest thing that I've realized in my journey meditating, and I'm sure I'll have another big realization at some point along the way, or several more, hopefully, over the course of my lifetime. But one of the major things that I realized is that it's not for me about getting to a place where I get my mind completely still. Sometimes that happens. I'll be totally honest with you. It doesn't happen for me all that often because my mind is a very busy one. And I think that's probably true for most of us. But the thing that made a big difference for me was when I realized when I first started meditating, those thoughts that I was having were often just problems for me. Like I took those thoughts personally. I always had some sort of response or felt like I needed to respond somehow to the thoughts that I was having. They would bother me. And the big realization that I had was that it's not about not having those thoughts, but it's just more about not letting those thoughts have any effect on me in the same way as maybe they used to. And that's something that changes over the course of a lifetime of practice. It's also, for me, something that changes over the course of a single meditation session. So when I first sit down to meditate, those thoughts might be troubling me in a way, but as I settle into it, I have a little bit more space. And that's the remarkable thing for me, is that we've all got things that we need to do. We've all got external realities that we need to live in. And that's the point of being alive. But it's difficult really to do that with any kind of perspective if every single thing that happens out there or in here has some effect on how we think about ourselves, how we think about how our day is going, how our life is going. What meditation can do is it can make it possible for those thoughts to happen, or for things out in life to happen. And sure, you can respond to the ones that you need to respond to in a proportionate way, but there are just so many things, and that's the realization that I had. There are just so many things that happen in my head that don't require, or frankly, deserve any kind of response from me. I can just let them come and go. And so it's not about not having the thoughts. It's just about not letting the thoughts have me, if that makes sense. So that's part of what this practice will lead you to. And the benefits of that are immense, because I used the word perspective before. It's like if you're in the thick of things and every little thing is bouncing off of you and that's causing you to bounce as well, it's really difficult to get anything done with the level of effectiveness or efficiency or presence that we might want to have. But if you take yourself out of the thick of things and just allow those things to kind of happen for a while, you can sort of sit back from the outside and watch and think, okay, those things that I'm always responding to, maybe those aren't important. These other things, maybe these are the important things that I can actually pay more attention to, give my full presence to. And when you go back into it, when you've come out of the meditation, you've got that perspective, it's easier to take care of the things that you need to take care of and to allow the other stuff to just go by. It's not a perfect system. It's not something that will make it possible for that to happen all the time. But more and more, I find, when you practice, any situation you find yourself in, it's going to be more likely than not over the course of time that you'll respond in manners that are appropriate, that you'll find yourself less reactive and more responsive, or if that's what's necessary in that moment. And there's an immense power to that. There's an immense power to it because it allows you to come at it from a place of ease more often than it would have been before. And it also allows you to come at it with a sense of purpose, because you know what the important things are that you need to focus on. And that makes things just easier to do. It makes you more productive. It makes you more, well, pleasant to be around for other people, if that's what you're after. It's a nice side effect as well. But maybe even more importantly, it makes it easier to be with yourself. And that's, for me, what this journey is about. And it's why I do it every day. And it's why I will continue to do it every day. Because I find that when I'm allowed to be at ease with myself, it just makes pretty much everything else in life a whole lot easier as well. The things that are under my control, anyway. But it also helps me to recognize that the things that are out of my control, I'm less likely to try and get them under my control. Again, not always, but more often. So just really quickly, another couple of things. It's also really important that some people think you just have to sit and not move at all when you're meditating. It's really important that if you're uncomfortable at any point, please feel free to stretch out your legs. It's also, you'll see I'm sitting up onto a pillow. You can do all of this in a chair. You can do all of this sitting up in your bed. But if you prop yourself up with something, you can even double a pillow up or put extra underneath you to make it easier for you to sit up. Being comfortable is an important thing, because if you're thinking the whole time about this pain in your hip, or am I ever going to feel my foot again, then that's obviously the kind of thing that your mind is going to say, well, this requires a response in this moment. So it makes it a whole lot harder to just let that kind of thing go. That's not really the kind of thing you want to let go, because if you get up from your meditation and then are feeling pain for the rest of your day, that doesn't make your day any better, does it? So that's the other important thing. But from there, as long as you remember that at any point you can stretch your leg out, you can do whatever you need to do, then it's easy to kind of come back in, much, much easier to allow yourself to drop in and let what happens happen. So the tools that we're going to use today are, we'll do a few stretches, makes it easier to sit for a little while. We will do some breath work, and the breath work that we're going to do today is, it's called alternate nostril breathing. The way that will work, and I'm just going to talk you through it now, and then in a little bit we'll actually do it together. The way that'll work is you're going to use your right hand, and you're going to use your thumb on your right nostril, and your ring finger and your pinky finger on your left nostril, and you'll just put the other two fingers, your first finger and your middle finger, just in the middle of your forehead there. And you're going to use your thumb and your ring finger to alternate the flow of air through your nostrils. So the way this will work is you'll breathe in through the open nostril, and you'll then hold both of your nostrils closed for a couple of moments. And then you're going to breathe out through the same nostril you breathed in through. So if you start with the thumb side, you breathe in through the thumb side, hold, and then you breathe out through the opposite side to what you breathed in through. So then you'll breathe in through the same side you just breathed out of, you'll hold, and then you'll breathe out through the thumb side again. And so you're going to alternate that way for a couple of minutes. So in through one side, hold at the top, out through the opposite side, in through the same side you just breathed out of, hold at the top, out through the other side. The reason we do this is that alternating the flow of air between the two nostrils brings a balance between the two sides of the nose, which usually one side is a little bit more closed, so the sinus membranes, the nasal membranes are closed in one side. They switch off every couple of hours or so. And interestingly enough, that has an effect on your brain. So when your left nostril is more closed, then the right side of your brain is a little bit quieter. So the opposite side of the brain responds to the opposite nostril. So your left nostril is open, then the right brain becomes a bit more active. So there's a little imbalance between the two hemispheres of your brain most of the time. But by alternating the flow of air between the two nostrils, you can bring them into balance so that you can start bringing the two hemispheres of your brain into balance. And when that happens, there's a response in your nervous system where things kind of just turn more inward. Your attention turns more inward. You're a little bit less responsive to the things outside of you. And that just makes it easier for you to concentrate on what's going on inside of you. So after that breath, you'll then keep your eyes closed. You'll allow your breath to kind of resolve itself. You'll allow it to just do its own thing without having to control it anymore. At this point, you can just let it go a little bit quieter. And you can, at that point, imagine that your attention is just drawing all the way in toward the central channel of your body. So you can kind of imagine along your spine, so from the base of your spine right up through into your brain, you can visualize a light, and it's helpful if you visualize that light in a way that's really compelling for you. So often if you visualize it as your favorite color, or you visualize it in a way that makes it real for you, as real as possible, because that visualization is going to just keep your attention coming more and more inward. And by taking your attention in toward the central channel, you can then allow your arms and your legs to kind of relax, allow all the muscles of your body, except for your core, which is holding you up, to relax. And again, that brings your attention inward, and it makes it a little bit easier for your awareness to stay on what's going on inside you. Again, less likely to be distracted by the things that are out there, less likely that your mind will go and be distracted by what's happening or what needs to happen or what you think needs to happen out there. So once that's happened, you'll keep your eyes closed. You'll allow your breath to stay still. You'll really let your facial muscles and your jaw and your tongue and everything relax. And it's at that point that you'll start to allow all of your awareness just to move upward and gather in the middle of your brain. And again, you can visualize it like a light, like a ball of light in the middle of your brain. And just by allowing your attention to gather there, it can help you to bring your awareness even more inward. And it almost acts, that visualization of the light, it almost acts as like a magnet for your attention. So it comes into a single point. And it's from that point, as you sit in stillness, and we'll always have at the end of this meditation process, after I've led you through all of this, you'll always have a few moments, a few minutes, and the minutes will get longer in each episode of this series. You'll always have a little bit of time of just quiet, to where you can sit with yourself, watch the thoughts as they come up, and as best you can, keep your attention centered in that light in the middle of your brain, visually, and just notice as the thoughts come. See if you can let them go. See if you can allow them to just move by, and hold yourself in this sense of stillness, whereas you're, rather than trying to chase all of the thoughts around and hook onto them, see if you can constantly remind yourself to stay in that center and allow the thoughts to go by. And that's all you have to do. As a matter of fact, the more you kind of surrender into that sense of centeredness and stillness, the easier that will become. The thoughts will still happen probably, and as they do, you can just allow them to go by. But the more you sort of ease your way into the sense of stillness that you've found through the techniques that we've used, the simpler it becomes to just sit and maybe even enjoy the feeling of being still for a few moments. And then after a few minutes of that silence, then I'll lead you back to kind of coming back to your senses, coming back to your body. And then I always like to have a little lie down afterwards, just to kind of let everything go. So that's the process that we're going to follow. But first, we'll do a few stretches. So again, you can do this in a chair. You can sit on the ground like this, cross-legged if you like, but just to connect with your breath and to connect with your body, we'll do these few stretches. So you can start by just taking your hands down onto the floor next to you like this. And you can take a breath in, reach your arms up, just feel your lungs expand. take a breath out, let your arms come back down. So just try and breathe through your nose when you do that. Breathing in, reach your arms up, let your shoulders relax. Breathe out, allow the weight of your arms to release down to the ground. And just do that one more time. Breathe in, and breathe out. Now leave one hand down on the floor, or if you're in a chair, just down alongside the chair, and reach your other arm up and over. And you don't have to lean way over. You can just come to a place where you start to feel the stretch here on this side, and trying to create a little bit more space between the ribs, a little bit of space in the waist, and just try and breathe into that area, creating some room for your breath to move in as you inhale. And then just allow it to relax as you exhale. Let your shoulders go too. And take a breath in. And then breathe out. And we'll do the other side. So reach the opposite arm up and reach the opposite arm down. Lifting, creating some space between the ribs there, in the waist. Let the shoulders relax. Deep breath in, create some space. Breathe out. Let something go. Let some holding go that you might not have recognized before. Just 2 more breaths like that. Breathing in, filling up, and breathing out, all the way to the bottom of the breath. One more time. Breathe in, and breathe out. And come back up to center, and just roll your shoulders up next to your ears as you inhale, and relax them back down as you exhale. One more time, breathing in and breathing out, and just let your one ear drop down toward the same shoulder. So my right ear is going down toward my right shoulder. Make sure both shoulders are relaxing away from the ears. Just feel that stretch in the left side of your neck as you do that. The more you can relax your jaw as you're here, the easier it'll be to feel that stretch in the neck. And then just very slowly allow your nose and your chin to drop down towards center. As you do that, you'll feel a little bit more of a stretch alongside your spine on the left side. And when you come to center, you can very slowly allow the opposite ear to go over to the opposite shoulder. So my left ear is going over to my left shoulder now. And just notice any little twinges that might happen in your neck. Make sure that you're not causing yourself any pain. Just go as far as you can without creating any kind of pain for your skeleton. And from there, allow your chin to drop down, allow your nose to drop down as well. And just feel that happen in the back of your neck. And very carefully, let your head float up to an upright position. And from there, we can just stretch out the legs for a minute. So especially if you've been sitting for a while listening to me, you can stretch out the legs, bounce out the knees. However you have the legs stretched forward, just reach your arms behind you. You can do this in a chair as well. Just straighten up the legs, put your heels on the ground, grab the chair behind you, and then as you're leaning forward, just feel a little bit of a stretch in the backs of your legs. Close your eyes for a couple of moments. Imagine as you breathe in that you can send your breath way into the backs of the legs. And then as you breathe out, feel that there's some kind of release in the back of your body. You can maybe even lean into it a little bit more. One more time, breathing in. And breathe out, let something go as you start to make your way back up. Okay, and if you are sitting cross-legged, you can cross your legs again. If you need to prop yourself up a little higher, I'm going to go ahead and fold my pillow a little bit more so I can sit up a little bit higher. Feel free also to sit up against a wall if that feels more comfortable for you. But from here, just let yourself settle in. Make sure as you sort of scan through your legs, bring your awareness into your hips and your waist, your shoulders, your arms. See if you can notice any holding, any tension that might be anywhere, and just allow all of that to go. Relax your jaw. And as I lead you through this breath work and the meditation, allow yourself just to keep your eyes closed and just follow along with my voice. If at any point you get lost or you find your mind wandering, bring yourself back. Anytime you recognize that your mind is wandering, it's a good thing because you've recognized it. And that's an opportunity of real presence. You can just bring yourself back to pay attention to where your attention needs to be in that moment. So go ahead and close your eyes and take your first two fingers of your right hand to the middle of your forehead. Your thumb will go to your right nostril. Your ring finger will go to your left nostril. And just close your eyes if they're not already closed. And just block off the flow of air with your thumb of your right nostril. And as you allow the left nostril to stay open, just breathe all the way out. And then take a long breath in through the left nostril. At the top of your breath, hold both of your nostrils closed for a moment, and then you're going to breathe out through the opposite side from where you breathed in. So you're going to breathe out through the thumb side, through the right nostril. Then you'll breathe in through the same side you just breathed out of. Long breath in. You'll hold at the top, blocking both sides. And you'll breathe out through the opposite side, through the ring finger side, the left side. And you'll continue like that. So breathe in through the same side you just breathed out of. You'll hold at the top, breathe out through the opposite side, and continue at your own pace. In through the side you've breathed out of, hold at the top, and out through the opposite side. And again, we're just bringing balance via the nostrils to both sides of the brain, both sides of the nervous system. And as you do this, notice anywhere if you're holding any tension in your arm, your hand, your jaw. See if you can let any of that go and just focus on the feeling of the air moving through the nostrils and the feeling of your attention really drawing inward. And so the next time you breathe out through your left side, so the next time you breathe out through the ring finger side, let that be your last breath out. And keep your eyes closed, but bring your hand down to your lap or onto your knee. And just allow yourself a couple of moments to find your breath again as you start to breathe through both of your nostrils again. But eventually, let your breath start to happen on its own now. So really let that control of the breath go as you allow the muscles of your legs and your arms to soften. So just feel the flesh of your limbs softening a little bit more, the shoulders, the neck, the jaw, everything can kind of relax a bit more. And just imagine that you can draw your attention right in toward the central line of your body. So right from the base of your spine, upward through into the middle of your brain. Visualize a light. Visualize your favorite color. Visualize something bright and warm along that central channel of your being. As your attention really draws in toward that central channel, you can start to feel how the rest of your body can get even a little bit softer. Your breath becomes a little bit more quiet, even. And as you let your jaw muscles and your tongue relax inside your mouth, just feel your attention, your awareness, moving up through your spine and starting to concentrate even more in the middle of your brain. So just feel your jaw relax even more, your tongue relax. Let the roof of your mouth relax even more. And just imagine that light, like a ball of light, concentrating in the middle of your brain. Just keep your attention there on that light. And notice when your attention moves out to another part of your body. Notice when your attention starts to be distracted by some other thought. When you notice, recognize that as a moment of presence and just take your attention back into the middle of your brain again. And the more you can relax the muscles of your face, your forehead, even your scalp, and you can keep your attention on that light in the middle of your brain, it's almost as though your brain itself can relax. This is not going to physically happen, but if you imagine it softening, then it can create this feeling of spaciousness inside your mind. And now for a few minutes, about 5 minutes perhaps, you're just going to let yourself be silent. I'm going to go quiet. If at any point you feel like you need to stretch out your leg or do anything to adjust, please do. And then just come back and sit more comfortably again. And just bring your awareness back to that space in the middle of your brain, to that light. Remember, anytime you feel distracted, notice that. Bring your attention back to the center of your brain. Relax your jaw. Relax the roof of your mouth. And let yourself feel this sense of stillness as the thoughts can just come and go like clouds across the face of the sun. If you start to get pulled in, relax a little bit more and just let whatever was pulling you go on its way. So start to bring your awareness back if you are finding right now that your mind has gone somewhere, got caught up in something. Start to take your attention in again, but now we'll start to move your attention back down into your body. So one nice way of doing that is just to use the tactile feeling of your hands. You can just take your hands together in front of you, palm to palm, and just start to rub your palms together a little bit, just to kind of feel the friction between your palms, feel the warmth between them. And then bring your hands up over your face and just feel the warmth of your hands coming into your face. Imagine that warmth is kind of coming into your brain, and draw your hands down your face, down to your jaw and to your front of your neck. And then give your neck and your shoulders a little squeeze with your hands. Notice if any tension has come in as you've been sitting there. And take your hands down in front of your chest, one on top of the other in front of your heart. Imagine the warmth from your hands coming right into your heart. Slide your hands down the front of your body, down to your belly. Give your belly a little rub, a little love. And slide your hands from your belly down your hips and down to the fronts of your thighs. Make little circles with your hands around your knees. As you're doing that, you can start to open up your eyes if you haven't already, and just look down at a point in front of you on the floor, and just take in the outside world again, and just notice as you then take your hands down your shins, maybe if you can reach them, if you're sitting on the chair, down from your heels of your feet to your toes. Notice the sensation coming back into your legs, into your feet, and then as your eyes are kind of taking in the room, notice what that feels like after having been in this sort of inward place for quite some time. And at this point, if you'd like to, what I usually like to do is lie down for a moment. Please feel free to do that, and just take a few moments to let your body sink in, and lie down for as long as you like. But when you're ready, you can get back up. At that point, you can go and do whatever you need to do. But thank you very much for joining me for this meditation. I will leave you to it, and I hope to see you next week as we add on to this and make the meditation a little bit more, a little bit longer, and we'll add on a few things. So until then, thank you very much. See you next time.